the second policeman asked, scenting a promising line of inquiry. "Does your daddy live in Totnes? Does he live in Torquay?" Azalea shook her head. "Can you remember what time you set off from home?" asked the first policeman. Another shake of the head. "Did you have lunch on the way?"
"Yes."
The girl's eyes widened.
"We had ham sandwiches," she said.
If Azalea and her mother had started their journey before lunchtime, enjoyed ham sandwiches, and still only arrived at the fairground in the evening, then the search area could easily include most of England and all of Wales. Back at the police station, the child protection officer called Sergeant Jennifer Nails was given the job of looking after Azalea. A police photographer was summoned from his bed to photograph the girl. Social services were awoken and instructed to check their at-risk registers for any child matching Azalea Ives' description. Photographs of Azalea looking sleepy were printed and posted by first-class mail to the Department of Education, from where they would be forwarded to the head teachers of primary schools to see if anyone could identify her. Azalea did possess one distinguishing mark. This was an inch-long scar running down her face just to the side of her left eye.
"How did you get that scar?"
Sergeant Nails asked her. But the little girl just shook her head. A police doctor examined the scar but declared it to be an old wound, possibly even a forceps mark from birth. No signs of abuse or neglect could be found. Azalea was well-nourished, suitably dressed, and clearly well cared for. Her hair had been combed and her fingernails trimmed. It all added to the general sense of mystery that clung to her apparent abandonment. Who would do this to a child like Azalea? By 9 the next morning, when Sergeant Nails and Azalea Ives appeared at the Torquay police station, the phones were busy. The police had widened their net. Calls were made to police forces in Cornwall and Somerset. Police computers, such as they were back then, were queried. People named Ives were visited and questioned across the south and west of England and the Midlands and Wales. By midday, with no sign of progress, a chief inspector from Exeter arrived in Torquay to take over the investigation. Sergeant Nails reported that there was a faint hint of an Irish accent when Azalea spoke. The girl also had red hair, and to Sergeant Nails's mind this indicated Irish origin. So a speech therapist from the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital was called. She listened carefully to the tapes that the police had made and said that evidence of an Irish accent was thin, but that she wasn't strictly speaking an expert on accents, so she couldn't be sure. Recordings were then played over the telephone to a London expert in regional accents. He told the police that the girl's speech exhibited a number of distinctive characteristics which might suggest that she was from an itinerant family, or perhaps that her mother had a different accent to her father. The expert proposed that they might want to look around Liverpool and North Wales, but he wouldn't commit to either. "The girl has a rather neutral accent," he told the police inspector. "She has a high-rising terminal, which is a feature of Australian speech, where the inflection tends to rise rather than fall at the end of a sentence. Some Americans also talk in this way, but we can't really conclude that the girl is Australian or American." By the second day after Midsummer's Day, the puzzles surrounding Azalea Ives had reached the newspapers. Her photograph featured, with police consent, in the Daily Mirror and the Daily Mail. Extra staff were drafted into the police station in Torquay to handle the resulting telephone calls. Child protection officers were included to help detect malicious callers. For operational reasons, the newspapers had not been given the name Azalea. Instead, they were asked to identify the child simply as Girl A. The reasoning was, with a name as unusual as Azalea, if anyone was to call the Torquay police station and volunteer the correct name, they would surely be bona fide. But by the end of the second day,